Hello, welcome. This is Down Astrology. I'm Jessie, and this is a bit on the Saturn Jupiter square that we have coming up on the 26th of March and active until the 23rd of May, so around 2 months. And this video is going to be focused really for those that are utilizing technology to go freelance or in transitioning to that, or you have your own soul-led or creative business. You can apply what I share personally, and I will touch a little bit on that. But just as the planets show up multidimensional ways, and I work with a few different lenses, the health lens, I'd say the creative or the storytelling lens, and how we actually manifest our purpose and embody our codes in their light and utilize the planets in their most positive expression. I guess those are the lenses I work with, also astrocartography and working with stones. So as an artist, I also make, I make jewelry. So for me, exploring how to work with the planets and to support astrology with my own solar business. I've got courses that I'm working on, one in specific, and I'm writing books. So for me, utilizing the stars and supporting other creatives to do that interests me. However, it's all relative. You can apply it personally. And like I said, I will touch a little bit on that as well, especially if you're also an astrologer who's just started astrology or learning astrology, or you're developing your skills as an astrologer. This will have some interesting stuff in here for you. So when we're looking at squares, what are squares? In short form, they're when planets come to a 90-degree angle. So you can see here, it's actually not showing up, but this is 8 degrees apart. I take into consideration an 8-degree orb. You'll find some astrologers use 5 degrees. Squares are nothing to be scared of. There's strong tensions in the chart. They are often seen as blocks or obstacles or challenges. Yes, they do challenge us, but they're also points of strength. Think about the nature and the geometric language of a cube, of a square. It's strong, it's the 4 points, it brings things into real form, into the physical world. And so when planets and signs come 90 degrees, and you'll have that in coming to and coming away from, so we get that transition. We can work with this energy collectively and also however it activates our charts. Squares are in the same modes of the sign. So Aquarius and Taurus are both fixed signs. What do fixed signs do? They stabilize, they have this immense power and energy to just keep going, and to the shadow of it means that they can get stubborn or want it their way or not be able to move on or get very stuck in a loop. The mental side of Aquarius can get very analytical. It needs to learn just to when to let go, to earth itself, to bring itself back to the earth plane. And likewise with Taurus, the shadow can be to get very stuck, to get lazy, to get too focused on the body or focused on money or material things. It needs to open up its mind and allow new ways of thinking and new ways of new perspectives to come in. So Aquarius and Taurus can really help each other. And we'll get into how to balance the square as well, especially if this is triggering natal planets for you. How we balance a square beyond taking into consideration both parts of the square, so Jupiter in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius. If there is more balancing that's needed, or it's activating natal planets for you, or you just in general are feeling this square in a strong way and need help. For example, you're one of the other of what I've just described about getting mentally stuck or getting physically stuck. You go to the opposite sign. So Scorpio, water sign, creative imagination, deep emotional feeling. It helps balance the Taurus energy. And Aquarius, the opposite is Leo. Go out, have fun, let your hair down. This is going to balance that mental energy. So in squares, Leo and Scorpio are also fixed signs. So squares have the same modes. Aquarius and Scorpio also square each other. Leo and Taurus also square each other. So that if they were all together, that would be then a grand square. But we're not getting into that. This is the nature of squares. They're all fixed, but then how we balance is we work with the other elemental forces. And the reason I wanted to share about this square is because I sense it to be a really useful square, a useful time, especially coming out of Venus and Mercury retrograde, coming out of eclipse season. Amazing opportunity to not only work with the energies of Aquarius and Taurus, but the planets there. We've got Saturn on the North Node with Neptune, and I'll bring Neptune and the North Node in a moment, but really just to focus on this square between Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter in Taurus, it's been there for the last year. It takes around 12 years or 9 months. I have to double check my dates on that. Including going, because it went retrograde, but it takes 12 years to cycle the zodiac. It takes roughly 1 year through each sign. So with Jupiter and Taurus, this has been a part of your chart by house and within your energy that has been expanding, amplifying, growing. Jupiter naturally brings abundance, success. Its work is boundaries. But this is why I love Jupiter and Taurus. It has those boundaries. If it doesn't get too lazy, complacent, just love of food, needing to have these boundaries on the luxuries, on the delicious and, these pleasures in life. Venus is the same, and Venus in the Taurus is also, it's a very sensual sign. It's all about the senses, tastes, touch, aromas. So Jupiter, if it can understand its boundaries and actually be able to work with whatever was activated for you up through its journey in Aries, because that was a time collectively, and I really sense into this, and I've seen it with a lot of people, where our spiritual seed, a new spiritual seed was planted. Jupiter rules spirituality, it governs spirituality. It's the ruler of Sagittarius, of Pisces, and Jupiter and Saturn, although Saturn really is the authority of the zodiac, Jupiter is also king of the gods when we're looking at the mythology and the archetypes. So they both govern spiritual law, but in a different way. Saturn is more about that law on the earth plane, and Jupiter is all-encompassing spiritual law and spirituality, philosophies. It's optimistic. It wants to have a good time. And there's a beautiful success and natural abundance that comes with Jupiter. So whatever was activated for you the last couple of years in what your spiritual seed, what your gift is, what it is that you have here to grow and develop and expand. As this point in your chart, Jupiter is our abundance point. It's often seen as a success point. Again, you have to go and look at your personal codes and aspects and all of that and how it actually manifests. But in general, it's known as a benefic. So it's a natural point of our chart where we're easily able to grow, we're easily able to manifest, and there's a feel-good energy to it. So everyone always, wants a Jupiter transit, and you'll find naturally this happens. I had, Jupiter coming through my seventh house a couple of years ago. I wondered if I'd get a boyfriend, and then I did. I started a relationship. So, that's not always as cookie cutter as that, but there's a reason why it's that simple, because this is how the system works. So you can go ahead and check where Taurus is in your chart and what that area of life means for you. What has Jupiter been growing and developing and expanding in that area of your life? This is when you also then take yourself back to your natal Jupiter to find out what Jupiter is for you. So you might have Jupiter in Sagittarius. And so understanding how you embody Jupiter in Sagittarius, that's going to help you understand your spiritual seed. Because Jupiter started a new cycle through Aries a couple of years ago. So a new version and a new creative spark within that gift that you have, that thing or whatever it is that is your your gift. Your sun is really your purpose, but Jupiter is our spiritual gifts and how we can grow and expand them in this lifetime. So that cycle started for us all a couple of years ago, and understanding your natal Jupiter is going to help you tap into what that was if you're unclear, or you might be very aware of what's been going on for you, especially for creatives or for those who have a soul-led business, especially if you're transitioning online or you're running online business. There are many of us now working with the technological realm to create abundance from our passions, which has been a big part of Saturn moving through Aquarius the last 3 years as well. We're seeing this become even more real, especially with ChatGPT, which is very Aquarius, new age thinking, AI. This is all technology. This is all Aquarius. So with Jupiter there in Taurus, it's was retrograde. It's now gone direct again. So it's gone back to 16 degrees. And it's just about building foundations, stabilizing. Taurus nourishes, it's a feminine earth sign, but again, it's fixed. So it's there and it's going, right, let's feed this, let's nourish it. Slow and steady wins the race. When Jupiter is in a healthy expression in Taurus, it's not getting too lazy, too stuck, too wrapped up in earthly pleasures. It's slowly growing and developing and stabilizing whatever that creative seed was for you. So then we're going to go to Saturn here in Aquarius and go, so why is this square so powerful, and why is it not going to bring blocks and obstacles and challenges? It's going to do however you interact with it. And this is why astrology is so cool, because we can shine a beacon on it and go, right, these are the energies. And so then we have a conscious awareness of that, and we're able to work with them from a felt sense, and just being aware of whatever's going on in our lives, and essentially how to utilize and work with the energies both collectively, again, taking into consideration the eclipses and the retrogrades, but then also for you personally as an artist or an entrepreneur, or this might be resonating for you in some way within your personal life as well. Also, not everyone creates abundance in terms of monetary abundance from the spiritual gifts. This might also have been, you moving house, or some dream coming alive, or some dream coming to fruition in the physical realm. And it might not necessarily be money focused, but there's an abundance and there's a growth and there is expansion that's come from it in the earthly form and for you as an individual. Saturn in Aquarius, I love this because Saturn brings structure, it brings discipline, and it brings us into the mundane reality. It's all about the earthly plane. It's all about what's real. It's finances. We can also see it as outdated structures. We can also see this as the outdated matrix, which is being given a whole new way of seeing things as it's journeyed through Aquarius. And when you're looking at this as a creative or as a storyteller, this square now enables all of those creative visions, all of those new perspectives, bringing them into structure and form. Aquarius is light, sound, colors, auric colors, rainbows, crystals. And so this light and these creative visions and ways of seeing it, it has a chance now to actually be brought into structure, especially from whatever reflections or reevaluations have come up through the retrograde. Regardless of whatever's been going on in your personal life, again, the planets play out multidimensionally, but from around the middle of April, that's go time. And you can utilize this square to be able to bring in a very powerful way those creative projects, new ideas, things you've had on the back burner that you've been spending time on and developing, actually bringing them into real physical existence, and Jupiter then having the strength to grow them into reality, because Jupiter in Taurus says to Saturn, okay, right, it's ready. We need to grow it in the earthly realm. It's, we don't, you don't need to spend any more time thinking about it. Aquarius is a fixed mental sign. Let's just grow this. And when Taurus gets too stuck or gets too much in the physical realm or too focused on money or material things, Aquarius comes in. But how about looking at it this way? What about this new creative way of doing it? And so this square is definitely one to be utilized for its strength. It may well trip people up with challenges, especially if it's triggering your natal planets. And that's then where you go and see an astrologer, and you can check my Instagram at a Stone Astrology to get in touch if you want a private reading to see how these planets trigger your natal codes. That's then when you want to work with the individual energy to you. But Saturn is there and it's supporting Jupiter, and Jupiter is supporting Saturn. When they get on really well, they can be powerhouses together. But if they're at loggerheads and one side of the square is if the square isn't in balance, even though you don't find balance through the square, I sense you make it fair. You do a bit of one and you do a bit of the other, and you don't fall too heavy on either side. And I also sense that Jupiter's been in Taurus for a while. So if you're already on the momentum of naturally growing, stabilizing, bringing foundation to your gifts, your passions, your creative goals, then, and Saturn's also been in Aquarius for a while. So you've already been having this kind of structure, or technology is something maybe you've been developing or bringing into your work, or how you're utilizing technology. These planets have been there for a while, but what this square is about to do is actually to bring something more real and bring something more into physical form, or you're going to get tested and challenged on what needs to be made stronger, because squares are points of strength. So if you find that there is a block or there is a challenge, use it as an invitation to bring strength, to stay committed. And you have here this amplification, which I just love, this conjunction here of the Neptune and the North Node. Psychic downloads, creative downloads, just this whole, it might feel overwhelming for some, especially if you've got strong Pisces placements, but just this, well, when we look at it collectively, this collective flood of technological revelation and being able to access the realms of fantasy, the realms of the non-real and the all-encompassing. But for you as a creative, or trying to, as a freelancer, just this conjunction being a really powerful way of bringing through divine information, spiritual images, symbols, and just light bulb flashes of information that just come from out of nowhere, out of the cosmos, out of the collective. And because you've got this balance between Saturn and Neptune, it's not like, an overwhelming just wash and flood, and which, Neptune on the North Node can get very confused, or illusions, or there can be, it needs help actually bringing clarity. But with Saturn there, it's just this supportive energy bringing the structure through. that's my take on this square. I hope that was useful. And again, if you do find this square challenging, go ahead and reflect on how you can bring balance, because through the opposite sign, you might find that if this is triggering natal planets for you, how can you work with the opposite sign to bring balance? And that would be then obviously getting more deeper into your chart. If you like this video, stay with me, hit subscribe, and I'm going to be sharing more updates and staying committed to more astrology videos, sending you many blessings, and I hope that you enjoy this Jupiter Saturn square.